I'm not just a mechanic. The bar was buzzing that Friday night, full of laughter, chatter, and clinking glasses. At the far end of the counter sat Jake Miller, a broad-shouldered man in a grease-stained work shirt. He wasn't there to party. He never really fit into the scene. Jake was a single dad, and most nights were spent at home helping his 7-year-old daughter with homework or tucking her into bed. But tonight, his neighbor had offered to babysit, and Jake allowed himself a rare break. That's when the laughter started. Look at this guy. One man at the bar smirked loud enough for others to hear. Still in his mechanic's clothes, didn't even bother to change. Another chuckled. Probably came straight from changing oil. What's he gonna buy? A glass of water? Jake didn't respond. He'd heard it before. People reducing him to greasy hands and dirty coveralls. What they didn't know was that every calloused hand, every sleepless night, was for the little girl who thought the world of him. A woman nearby joined in, shaking her head. Single dads who fix cars, not much of a future, huh? Jake forced a smile, lifting his glass. I'm not just a mechanic. The group burst out laughing. Sure you're not. One sneered. Next you'll tell us you're a brain surgeon. But a voice from the other side of the bar interrupted. Calm, curious, different, what do you mean by that? The crowd turned. A man in a tailored suit had been watching quietly. His presence was commanding without being loud. Nobody seemed to know him, but the bartender's quick respect gave him away. Richard Cole, CEO of one of the biggest auto companies in the country. Jake set his glass down, meeting the man's eyes. I fix more than cars, he said softly. I fix lives, mine, my daughter's, sometimes even strangers. Being a mechanic doesn't make me less of a man, it makes me someone who doesn't give up. The room fell silent. Richard leaned in, intrigued. Tell me more. Jake hesitated, but something in the CEO tone felt genuine. So he shared how he lost his wife in an accident years ago, how he raised his daughter alone, how he worked long shifts at the garage to pay for her school, how he spent nights building a homemade wheelchair ramp for a disabled neighbor without charging a cent. She's the reason I work so hard. Jake finished, pulling out his phone to show a picture of his smiling daughter. I want her to grow up knowing kindness matters more than money or status. The group that mocked him shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Richard's eyes softened. You said you're not just a mechanic. You're right, you're a builder of character and of hope. Then came the twist. I've been looking for someone to lead a new program, Richard continued. We want skilled, hardworking people who know what it means to care for others. People who can teach values, not just skills. Would you consider working with us? The bar gasped. The same men who had laughed now stared in stunned silence. Jake blinked, thinking of his daughter, her dreams, and the endless bills waiting at home. Slowly he nodded. If it helps her future, and lets me keep giving back. Yes, Richard extended a hand. Then welcome aboard. At that moment, the laughter that had once mocked Jake turned into an awkward hush. No one dared to joke now. The single dad, once dismissed as just a mechanic, had been seen for who he truly was, a man of grit, love, and quiet strength. That night, Jake walked out of the bar with more than he came in for. Not just a job, not just respect, but proof that kindness and resilience can turn ridicule into redemption. And as he drove home, he whispered to himself with a smile, I'm not just a mechanic. I'm a father, and that's the greatest title I'll ever hold. Theme and message, no one is ever just anything. Behind every person is a story of sacrifice, resilience, and love. True worth isn't in titles or appearances. It's in how we live for others.